Emabet is a farmer who lives in an impoverished rural area where her family has grown the same crop for generations. Her land has suffered from a drought for months. Her crop has failed for the second year in a row. Now she has no harvest to sell and very little to feed her family. Emabet has known hardships all her life. In the past, she has found temporary fixes so her family can survive. Those temporary fixes have included selling her livestock, pulling her children from school and sending them to work, seeking help from neighbors. But this is difficult when they're suffering from the same drought. Borrowing money from local moneylenders, but for a very high price. Relying on family in the nearby town to send her money. Now she is thinking of migrating with her children to the city with hopes of finding work. While some of these fixes are not ideal, she needs to feed her children. These traditional coping mechanisms are part of Emabet's resilience. Her ability to cope with crises, continue to thrive, and adapt to change. Some of the ways she copes in the short term put her and her family at higher risk to future shocks and deeper poverty. However, like billions of poor people around the world, Emabet is forced to do what she can for their immediate survival. Emabet is just one of millions of farmers worried about their future. These farmers will be the most affected by the impacts of climate change and natural hazards. For decades, developing countries have relied on reactive approaches to addressing disasters by diverting funds from national development budgets and relying on unsustainable relief and recovery assistance from international donors when disasters hit. This creates heavy burdens on governments. Funds for recovery are often insufficient and poorly targeted, not reaching those most affected. This approach does not encourage people to take action to reduce potential impacts of hazards before they strike. Can insurance help Emabet and other poor households better manage their risk? Traditional insurance pays out based on actual addressed losses of the policyholder. It is usually unaffordable to the poor. Since the late 1990s, several pilot programs have been testing the use of index insurance. This pays out based on an independent measure, such as a certain amount of excess or deficit rainfall, a specific wind speed in the case of hurricanes, or livestock mortality for winter storms. This is called a trigger. With index insurance, there is no need to assess the